these fundamental questions. We're driven by curiosity about the nature of the universe, and that's also what causes us to be a maximally truth-seeking AI, even if that truth is sometimes at odds with what is politically correct. In order to understand the nature of the universe, you must absolutely rigorously pursue truth, or you will not understand the universe. You will be suffering from some amount of delusion or error. So that is our goal, figure out what's going on. And we're very excited to present Grok 3, which is, we think, an order of magnitude more capable than Grok 2 in a very short period of time. And that's thanks to the hard work of an incredible team. And I'm honored to work with such a great team. And of course, we'd love to have some of the smartest humans out there join our team. So with that, let's go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Igor, lead engineering at XAI.
I'm JB Ba, leading research.
I'm Tony, working on the reasoning team.
All right, I'm Elon. I don't do anything. I just show up occasionally.
Yeah, so like Elon mentioned, Grok is the tool that we're working on. Grok is our AI that we're building here at XAI, and we've been working extremely hard over the last few months to improve Grok as much as we can, so we can give it to all of you, so we can give all of you access to it. We think it's going to be extremely useful. We think it's going to be interesting to talk to, funny, really, really funny, and we're going to explain to you how we've improved Grok over the last few months. We've made quite a jump in capabilities.
Yeah, actually, we should explain maybe also why do we call it Grok? So Grok is a word from a Heinlein novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. And it's used by a guy who was raised on Mars. And the word Grok is to sort of fully and profoundly understand something. That's what the word Grok means, fully and profoundly understand something.
And empathy is important.
True.
Yeah. So, yeah, so if we charted XAI's progress in the last few months, it's only been 17 months since we started kicking off our very first model. Grok 1 was almost like a toy by this point, only 314 billion parameters. And now if we plot the progress, the time on the x-axis, the performance of favorite benchmark numbers, MMLU, on the y-axis, we're literally progressing at unprecedented speed across the whole field. And then we kick off Grok 1.5 right after Grok 1, released after November 2023, and then Grok 2. So if we look at where all the performance is coming from, when you have a very correct engineering team and all the best AI talent, there's only one thing we need, is a big intelligence comes from big cluster. So we can reconvert the entire progress of XAI, now replacing the benchmark on the y-axis to the total amount of training flops. That is, how many GPUs we can run at any given time to train our large language models, to compress the entire internet. So after Grok 2...
All human knowledge, really.
That's right.
Yeah, internet being part of it, but it's really all human knowledge, everything.
Yeah, the whole internet fits into a USB stick at this point.
It's like all the human tokens, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very soon into the real world.
Yeah.
So we had so much trouble, actually, training Grok 2 back in the days. We kicked off the model around February, and we thought we had a large amount of chips, but turned out we can barely get 8K training chips running coherently at any given time. And we had so many cooling and power issues. I think you were there in the data center.
Yeah, it was like really sort of more like 8K chips on average at 80% efficiency, more like 6,500 effective H100s training for several months. But now we're at 100K. So
yeah, that's right.
More than 100K.
That's right. So what's the next step, right? So after Grok 2, so if we want to continue to accelerate, we have to take the matter into our own hands. We have to solve all the coolings, all the power issues, and everything.
Yeah. So in April of last year, Elon decided that really the only way for XAI to succeed, for XAI to build the best AI out there, is to build our own data center. So we didn't have a lot of time, right, because we wanted to give you Grok 3 as quickly as possible. So really, we realized we have to build the data center in about 4 months. It turned out it took us 122 days to get the first 100K GPUs up and running, and that was a monumental effort to be able to do that. We believe it's the biggest fully connected H100 cluster of its kind. We didn't just stop there. We actually decided that we need to double the size of the cluster pretty much immediately if we want to build the kind of AI that we want to build. So we then had another phase, which we haven't talked about publicly yet. So this is the first time that we're talking about this, where we doubled the capacity of the data center yet again. And that one only took us 92 days. So we've been able to use all of these GPUs, use all of this compute to improve Grok in the meantime. And basically today we're going to present you the results of that, the fruits that came from that.
That's right.
So let's
so all the paths, all the roads leads to Grok 3. 10x more compute.
More than 10x, really.
Yeah, really.
Like maybe 15x-ish.
Yep, compared to our previous generation model. And Grok 3 finished the pre-training early January. Then we started, the model is still currently training, actually. So this is a little preview of our benchmark numbers. So we evaluated Grok 3 on 3 different categories: on general mathematical reasonings, on general knowledge about STEM and science, and then also on computer science, coding. So AIME, American Invitational Math Examination, hosted once a year. And if we evaluate the model performance, we can see that the Grok 3 across the board is in a league of its own. Even its little brother, Grok 3 Mini, is reaching the frontier across all the other competitors. So you would say, well, at this point, all these benchmarks, you're just evaluating the memorization of the textbooks, memorization of the GitHub repos. How about the real-time usefulness? How about we actually use those models in our product? So what we did instead is we actually kicked off a blind test of our Grok 3 model, codenamed Chocolate. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, hot chocolate.
Been running on this platform called Chatbot Arena for 2 weeks. I think the entire X platform at some point speculated this might be the next generation of AI coming our way. So how this Chatbot Arena works is that it strips away the entire product surface, right? It's just raw comparison of the engine of those AGIs, the language models themselves, and place an interface where the user will submit one single query, and you get to show 2 responses. You don't know which model they come from, and in the end, you make the vote. So in this blind test, Grok 3, an early version of Grok 3, already reached like 1,400. No other models has reached an ELO score, head-to-head comparison to all the other models at this score. And it's not just one single category. It's 1,400 aggregated across all the categories in chatbot capabilities, instruction following, coding. So it's #1 across the board in this blind test.
And it's still climbing, so we actually have to keep updating it. So it's 1,400, above 1,400 and climbing.
Yeah, and in fact, we have a version of the model that we think is already much better than the one that we tested here.
Yeah.
We'll see, how far it gets, but that's the one that we're, working on, or talking about today.
Yeah. So actually, one thing, if you're using Grok 3, I think you may notice improvements almost every day, because we're continuously improving the model. So literally, even within 24 hours, you'll see improvements.
Yep. So, but we believe here at XAI, getting the best pre-training model is not enough. That's not enough to build the best AI. And the best AI need to think like a human. You need to contemplate about all the possible solutions, self-critique, verify all the solutions, backtrack, and also think from the first principle. That's a very important capability. So we believe that as we take the best pre-trained model and continue training it with reinforcement learning, it will elicit the additional reasoning capabilities that allows the model to become so much better and scale not just in the training time, but actually in the test time as well. So we already found the model is extremely useful internally for our own engineering, saving hours of time, hundreds of hours of coding time, So Igor, you're the power user of our Grok 3 reasoning model. So
Yeah.
what are some use cases?
Yeah, so like Jimmy said, we've added advanced reasoning capabilities to Grok, and we've been testing them pretty heavily over the last few weeks in order to give you a little bit of a taste of what it looks like when Grok is solving hard reasoning problems. So we prepared 2 little problems for you. One comes from physics, and one is actually a game that Grok is going to write for us. When it comes to the physics problem, what we want Grok to do is to plot a viable trajectory to do a transfer from Earth to Mars, and then at a later point in time, a transfer back from Mars to Earth. And that requires some physics that Grok will have to understand. So we're going to challenge Grok, come up with a viable trajectory, calculate it, and then plot it for us so we can see it. And yeah, this is totally unscripted, by the way.
That's the entirety of the prompt, which should be clarified, is that there's nothing more than that.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Grok interface, and we've typed in this text that you can see here, generate code for an animated 3D plot of a launch from Earth, landing on Mars, and then back to Earth at the next launch window. And we've now kicked off the query, and you can see Grok is thinking. So part of Grok's advanced reasoning capabilities are these thinking traces that you can see here. You can even go inside and actually read what Grok is thinking as it's going through the problem, as it's trying to solve it.
Yeah, we should say, we are doing some obscuration of the thinking so that our model doesn't get totally copied instantly. So there's more to the thinking than is displayed.
Yeah, and because this is totally unscripted, there's actually a chance that Grok might make a little coding mistake, and it might not actually work. Just in case, we're going to launch 2 more instances of this, so if something goes wrong, we'll be able to switch to those and show you something that's presentable. Right, so we're kicking off the other 2 as well. And like I said, we have a second problem as well. Yeah, actually one of our favorite activities here at XAI is having Grok write games for us. Not just any old game, any game that you might already be familiar with, but actually creating new games on the spot and being creative about it. So one example that we found was really, really fun is create a game that's a mixture of the 2 games, Tetris and Bejeweled. So
this is maybe an important thing. Obviously, if you ask an AI to create a game like Tetris, there are many examples of Tetris on the internet that or a game like Bejeweled, whatever. It can copy it. What's interesting here is it achieved a creative solution combining the 2 games that actually works and is a good game.
Yeah,
we're seeing the beginnings of creativity.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that we can recreate that.
Hopefully it works.
Hopefully it works.
Embarrassing if it doesn't.
So actually, because this is a bit more challenging, we're going to use something special here, which we call Big Brain. That's our mode in which we use more computation, which means more reasoning for Grok, just to make sure that there's a good chance here that it might actually do it. So we're also going to fire off 3 attempts here at solving this game, at creating this game that's a mixture of Tetris and Bejeweled. Yeah, let's see what Grok comes up with.
I've played the game. It's pretty good. You're like, wow, okay, this is something.
Yeah. So while Grok is thinking, in the background, we can now actually talk about some concrete numbers. How well is Grok doing across tons of different tasks that we've tested it on. So we'll hand it over to Tony to talk about that.
Yeah, OK, so let's see how Grok does on those interesting, challenging benchmarks. So reasoning, again, refers to those models that actually thinks for quite a long time before it tries to solve a problem. So in this case, around a month ago, the Grok 3 pre-training finished. So after that, we worked very hard to put the reasoning capability into the current Grok 3 model. But again, this is very early days, so the model is still currently in training. So right now, what we're going to show to people is this beta version of the Grok 3 reasoning model. Alongside, we also are training a mini version of the reasoning model. So essentially, on this plot, you can see the Grok 3 reasoning beta and then Grok 3 mini reasoning. The Grok 3 mini reasoning is actually a model that we train for much longer time. And you can see that sometimes it actually performs slightly better compared to the Grok 3 reasoning. This also just means that there's a huge potential for the Grok 3 reasoning because it's trained for much less time. All right, so let's actually look at how it does on those 3 benchmarks. So Jimmy also introduced already. So essentially, we're looking at 3 different areas: mathematics, science, and coding. And for math, we're picking this high school competition math problem. For science, we actually pick those PhD level science questions. And for coding, it's also actually pretty challenging. It's competitive coding and also some lead code, which is some code interview problems that people usually get when they interview for companies. So on those benchmarks, you can see that the Grok 3 actually performed quite well across the board compared to other competitors. Yeah, so it's pretty promising. These models are very smart.
Yeah. So Tony, what are those shaded bars?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked this question. So for those models, because it can reason, it can think, you can also ask them to even think longer. You can spend more what we call test and compute, which means you can spend more time to reason, to think about a problem before you spit out the answer. So in this case, the shaded bar here means that we just ask the model to spend more time. It can solve the same problem many times before it tries to conclude what is the right solution. And once you give this compute or this kind of budget to the model, it turns out the model can even perform better. So this is essentially the shaded bar in those plots.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I think this is really exciting, right? Because now, instead of just doing one chain of thoughts with AI, why not do multiple all at once?
Yes.
So that's a very powerful technique that allows us to continue to scale the model capabilities after training. And people often ask, are we actually just overfitting to the benchmarks?
Yes.
So how about generalization?
So yes, I think, this is definitely a question that we are asking ourselves, whether we are overfitting to those current benchmarks. Luckily, we have a real test. So about 5 days ago, AIME 2025 just finished. This is where high school students compete in this particular benchmark. So we got this very fresh new competition, and then we asked our 2 models to compete on the same benchmark, the same exam. And it turns out, very interestingly, the Grok 3 reasoning, the big one, actually does better on this particular new fresh exam. This also means that the generalization capability of the big model is stronger, much stronger compared to the smaller model. If you compare to the last year's exam, actually this is the opposite. The smaller model kind of learns the previous exams better. So yeah, so this actually shows some kind of true generalization from the model.
That's right. So 17 months ago, our Grok 0 and Grok 1 barely solved any high school problems.
That's right.
And now we have a kid that just already graduated. The Grok is ready to go to college. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, it won't be long before it's simply perfect. The human exams won't be they'll be too easy.
Yeah. And internally, we actually, as the Grok continually evolves, we're going to talk about what we're excited about, but very soon there will be no more benchmark left.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that's quite fascinating, I think, is that we basically only trained Grok's reasoning abilities on math problems and competitive coding problems. Mm-hmm. Right? So very specialized kinds of tasks, but somehow it's able to work on all kinds of other different tasks. So including creating games, lots and lots of different things. And what seems to be happening is that basically Grok learns this ability to detect its own mistakes in its thinking, correct them, persist on a problem, try lots of different variants, pick the one that's best. So there are these generalizing abilities that Grok learns from mathematics and from coding, which it can then use to solve all kinds of other problems. So that's pretty.
I mean, reality is the instantiation of mathematics.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And one thing we're actually really excited about, that going back to our founding mission, is what if one day we have a computer just like Deep Thought that utilize our entire cluster just for that one very important problem in the test time. And all the GPU turned on, right? So I think back then we were building the GPU clusters together. You were plugging cables. And I remember that when we turned on the first initial test, you can hear all the GPUs humming in the hallway. That's almost feel like spiritual. Yeah,
that's actually a pretty cool thing that we're able to do, that we can go into the data center and tinker with the machines there. So for example, we went in and we unplugged a few of the cables and just made sure that our training setup is still running stably. So that's something that I think most AI teams out there don't usually do, but it's actually totally unlocks like a new level of reliability and what you're able to do with the hardware. So
Okay, so when are we going to solve Riemann?
So the easiest solution is to numerate over all possible strings. And as long as you have a verifier, enough compute, you'll be able to do it. But
Okay.
my projection will be,
What's your guess? What does your neural net calculate?
so my bold prediction, so 3 years ago I told you this, I think now it's 2 years later, two things are gonna happen. We're gonna see machines win some medals.
Yeah.
That's Turing's Award,
Absolutely.
Fields Medal, Nobel Prize, with probably some expert in the loop, right? So the expert uplifting.
Do you mean so this year or next year?
Okay.
That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah. I mean,
So it looks like Grok finished all of its thinking on the two problems. So let's take a look at what it said. All right, so this was the little physics problem we had. We've collapsed the thoughts here, so they're hidden. And then we see Grok's answer below that. So it explains, it wrote a Python script here using matplotlib, then gives us all of the code. So let's take a quick look at the code. Seems like it's doing reasonable things here, not totally off the mark. Solve Kepler says here, so maybe it's solving Kepler's law numerically. Yeah, there's really only one way to find out if this thing is working. I'd say let's give it a try. Let's run the code. All right, and we can see, Grok is animating two different planets, Earth and Mars here, and then the green ball is the vehicle that's transiting, the spacecraft that's transitioning between Earth and Mars. And you could see the journey from Earth to Mars, and it looks like, yeah, indeed, the astronauts returned safely, at the right moment in time. Obviously, this was just generated on the spot, so we can't tell you if that was actually a correct solution. So we're going to take a closer look. Maybe we're going to call some colleagues from SpaceX, ask them if this is legit.
It's pretty close. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of complexities in the actual orbits that have to be taken into account, but this is pretty close to what it looks like.
Awesome. Cool.
In fact, I have that on my pendant here. This has got the Earth-Mars home and transfer on it.
yeah. When are we going to install Grok on a rocket?
Well, I suppose in 2 years.
2 years? Everything is 2 years away.
Well, Earth and Mars transit occurs every 26 months. We're currently in a transit window approximately. The next one would be November of next year, roughly, end of next year. And if all goes well, SpaceX will send Starship rockets to Mars, and with Optimus robots and Grok.
Yeah, I'm curious what this combination of Tetris and Bejeweled looks like. Tetris, as we've named it internally. We also have an output from Grok here. It says wrote a Python script, explains that it's what it's been doing. If you look at the code, there's some constants that are being defined here, some colors. Then the trominos, the pieces of Tetris are there. Obviously, very hard to see at one glance if this is good. So we gotta run this to figure out if it's working. Well, let's give it a try. Fingers crossed. All right. So this kind of looks like Tetris, but the colors are a little bit off, right? The colors are different here, and if you think about what's going on here, Bejeweled has this mechanic where if you get 3 jewels in a row, then they disappear, and also gravity activates, right? So what happens if you get 3 of the colors together? Okay, so something happened. So I think what Grok did in this version is that once you connect at least 3 blocks of the same color in a row, then gravity activates and they disappear, and then gravity activates and all the other blocks fall down. Kind of curious if there's still a Tetris mechanic here where if the line is full, does it actually clear it, or what happens then? It's up to interpretation, so who knows?
Yeah, it'll do different variants when you ask it. It doesn't do the same thing every time.
Exactly. We've seen a few other Tetris that worked very differently, but this one seems cool, so yeah.
Are we ready for Game Studio at X.AI?
Yes. So we're launching an AI gaming studio at XAI. If you're interested in joining us in building AI games, please join XAI. We're launching an AI gaming studio. We're announcing it tonight. Let's go. Epic Games. But wait, that's an actual game studio. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think one thing is super exciting for us is that once you have the best pre-trained model, you have the best reasoning model, right? So we already see that when you actually give the capability for those models to think harder, think longer, think more broad, the performance continually improves. And we're really excited about the next frontier, that what happens if we not only allow the model to think harder, but also provide more tools, just like how real humans to solve those problems. For real humans, we don't ask them to solve Riemann hypothesis just with a piece of pen and paper, no internet. So with all the basic web browsing, search engine, and code interpreters, that builds the foundations, and the best reasoning model builds the foundations for the Grok agent to come. So today we're actually introducing a new product called Deep Search. That is the first generation of our Grok agents that not just helping the engineers and researchers and scientists to do coding, but actually help everyone to answer questions that you have day to day. It's a kind of like a next generation search engine that really help you to understand the universe. So you can start asking questions like, for example, hey, when is the next Starship launch day, for example? So let's try that, if we get the answer. On the left-hand side, we see a high-level progress bar. Essentially, the model not only just going to do one single search like the current RAG system, but actually thought very deeply about, hey, what's the user intent here? And what are the facts I should consider at the same time? And how many different websites I should actually go and read their content, right? So this can really save hundreds of hours of everyone's Google time if you want to really look into certain topics. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the bullet summaries of how the current model is doing, what websites browsing, what sources verifying, and oftentimes actually cross-validate different sources out there to make sure the answer is actually correct before it's output final answer. And we can, at the same time, fire up a few more queries. How about, you're a gamer, right? So
sure.
Yeah, so how about what are some of the best builds and most popular builds in Path Excel? Hardcore, right? Hardcore league.
You can technically just look at the hardcore ladder. Might be a fast way to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see what the model does. And then we can also do, something more fun. For example, how about make a prediction about the March Madness out there?
Yeah, so this is kind of a fun one where Warren Buffett has a $1 billion bet. If you can exactly match the entire winning tree of March Madness, you can win $1 billion from Warren Buffett. So it would be pretty cool if AI could help you win $1 billion from Buffett. That seems like a pretty good investment.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's fire up the query and see what model does. So we can actually go back to our very first one. How about the...
Buffett wasn't counting on this.
It's already done.
That's right. OK, so we got the result of the first one. The model thought around 1 minute. So the key insight here, the next Starship is going to be on 24th or later, so no earlier than February 24th.
It might be sooner.
So I think we can scroll down what the model does. So it does a little research on the Flight 7, what happened, got grounded, and actually it looked into the FCC filing, from its data collections, and then actually it made a new conclusion that if we continue to scroll down, let's see. Right. Yeah, so it makes the little table, I think, inside XAI, we often joked about the time to the first table is the only latency that matters. Yeah, so that's how the model makes the inference and look up all the sources. And then we can look into the gaming one. So how about the, oh, sorry. Right. So for this particular one, we look at, hey, the build is like, it's kind of like all the meta. Right?
Yeah.
So what the infernal is, but if we go down, so the surprising fact of all the other builds, so it look into the 12 classes. Yeah, so we'll see that the minion build was pretty popular whenever the game first came out, and now the invokers of the world kind of took over.
Monk Invoker for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, followed by the Stone Weavers, and that's really good at mapping. So, yeah, and then we can see the March Madness. How about that? So, one interesting thing about the deep search is that if you actually go into the panel where it shows, what are the subtasks, you can actually click the bottom left of this, right? And then in this case, you can actually scroll through, actually reading to the mind of Grok. What informations does the model actually think about are trustworthy, what are not? How does it actually cross-validate different information sources? So that makes the entire search experience and information retrieval process a lot more transparent to our users.
And this is much more powerful than any search engine out there. You can literally just tell it, only use sources from X, and it will try to respect that.
Yeah.
And so it's much more steerable, much more intelligent than.
I mean, it really should save you a lot of time. So something that might take you half an hour or an hour of researching on the web or searching social media, you can just ask it to go do that and come back, and 10 minutes later, it's done an hour's worth of work for you. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly.
And maybe better than you could have done it yourself.
Yeah. Think about you have infinite amount of interns working for you. Now you can just fire up all the tasks and come back a minute later. So this is going to be an interesting one. So March Madness had not happened yet. So I guess we have to follow up with a next live stream.
Yeah. And it seems like pretty good. Like $40 might get you $1 billion. $40 subscription.
That's right.
I mean, my work.
So yeah. So when are the users gonna have their hands on Grok 3?
Yeah, so the good news is we've been working tirelessly to actually release all of these features that we've shown you, the Grok 3 base model with amazing chat capabilities that's really useful, that's really interesting to talk to, the deep search, the advanced reasoning mode, all of these things. We want to roll them out to you today, starting with the Premium Plus subscribers on X. So it's the first group that will initially get access. Make sure to update your X app if you want to see all of the advanced capabilities, because we just released the update now as we're talking here. Yeah, if you're interested in getting early access to Grok, then sign up for Premium Plus. And also, we're announcing that we're starting a separate subscription for Grok that we call Super Grok, for those real Grok fans that want the most advanced capabilities and the earliest access to new features. So feel free to check that out as well.
This is for the dedicated Grok app and for the website.
Exactly.
Grok website.
So our new website is called grok.com.
Yeah.
And you'll also
You'd
find.
never guess.
Yeah, you'd never guess. And you can also find our Grok app in the iOS App Store. And that gives you like a more even more polished experience that's totally Grok focused. If you want to have Grok easily available, one tap away.
Yeah, and the version on grok.com on a web browser is going to be the latest and most advanced version, because obviously it takes us a while to get something into an app and then get it approved by the App Store. So and there's if something's in a phone format, there's limitations to what you can do. So the most powerful version of Grok and the latest version will be the web version at grok.com.
Yeah. So watch out for the name Grok 3 in the app.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. That's the giveaway that you have Grok 3. And if it says Grok 2, then Grok 3 hasn't quite arrived for yet, but we're working hard to roll this out today, and then to even more people over the coming days.
Yeah, make sure you update your phone app too, where you're actually going to get all the tools we showcased today with the thinking mode, with the deep search. So yeah, really looking forward to all the feedbacks you have.
Yeah, and I think we should emphasize that this is kind of a beta, like meaning that you should expect some imperfections at first, but we will improve it rapidly almost every day. In fact, every day I think it'll get better. So if you want a more polished version, I'd like maybe wait a week, but expect improvements literally every day. And then we're also going to be providing a voice interaction, so you can have conversational. In fact, I was trying it earlier today. It's working pretty well, but needs a bit more polish. The sort of way where you can just literally talk to it like you're talking to a person. That's awesome. It's actually, I think, one of the best experiences of Grok. But that's probably about a week away.
Yeah. So with that said,
Cool. I think we might have some audience questions.
Sure.
yeah.
Today.
All right.
So let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look. The audience from the X platform.
Yeah.
Cool. So the first question here is, when Grok Voice Assistant? When is it coming out? Yeah, as soon as possible, just like Elon said, just a little bit of polishing away from being released to everybody. Obviously, it's going to be released in an early form, and we're going to rapidly iterate on that.
Yep. And the next question is like, when will Grok 3 be in the API? So this is coming in the Grok 3 API with both the reasoning models and deep search is coming your way in the coming weeks. We're actually very excited about the enterprise use cases of all these additional tools that now Grok has access to, and how the test time compute and tool use can actually really accelerate all the business use cases.
And another one is, will voice mode be native or text-to-speech? So I think that means, is it going to be one model that is understanding what you say and then talking back to you, or is it going to be some system that has text-to-speech inside of it? And the good news is it's going to be one model, like a variant of Grok 3 that we're going to release, which basically understands what you're saying and then generates the audio directly from that. So very much like Grok 3 generates text, that model generates audio. And that has a bunch of advantages. I was talking to it earlier today, and it said, "Hi, Igor," reading my name probably from some text that it had. And I said, "No, my name is Igor." And it remembered that. So it could continue to say Igor, just like a human would. And you can't achieve that with text-to-speech. So,
Yeah, so here's a question for you, pretty spicy. Elon, is Grok a boy or a girl? And are they single?
Grok is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they single?
Yes.
All right, the shop is open. So
Honestly, people are going to fall in love with Grok. It's like 1,000% probable.
Yeah. The next question, will Grok be able to transcribe audio into text? Yes. So we'll have this capability in both the app and also the API. We found that's like, Grok should just be your personal assistant looking over your shoulder, right? And follow you along the way, learn everything you have learned, and really help you to understand the world better, become smarter every day.
Yeah, I mean, the voice mode of Grok isn't simply, it's not just voice to text. It understands like tone, inflection, pacing, everything. It's wild. I mean, it's like talking to a person.
Okay. Yeah, so any plans for conversation memory?
Yeah.
absolutely, we're working on it right now. So.
I already forgot.
That's right. Let's see. What are the other ones? So what about the DM features, right? So if you have personalizations and if you have, Grok remembers your previous interactions.
Yes.
Should it be one Grok or multiple different Groks?
It's up to you. You can have one Grok or many Groks.
Yep.
I suspect people will probably have more than one.
Yeah. I want to have a Dr. Grok.
Yeah. The Grok doc.
That's right. All right.
Cool. So in the past, we've open sourced Grok 1. Right? So somebody's asking us, are we going to do it again with Grok 2?
Yeah, I think once Grok, our general approach is that we will open source the last version when the next version is fully out. So like when Grok 3 is mature and stable, which is probably within a few months, then we'll open source Grok too.
Okay, so we probably have time for one last question. What was the most difficult part about working on this project? I assume Grok 3, and what are you most excited about? So I think me looking back, getting the whole model training on the 100K H100 coherently, that's almost like battling against the final boss of the universe, the entropy. Because at any given time, you can have a cosmic ray that beaming down and flip a bit in your transistor. And now the entire gradient update, if it's fit Mantissa bit, the entire gradient update is out of whack. And now you have 100,000 of those, and you have to orchestrate them every time, at any given time, any of the GPUs can go down. And
yeah. I mean, it's worth breaking down, like, how were we able to get the world's most powerful training cluster operational within 122 days? Because we started off, we actually weren't intending to do a data center ourselves. We were going to just, we went to the data center providers and said, how long would it take to have 100,000 GPUs operating coherently in a single location? And we got time frames from 18 to 24 months. So we're like, well, 18 to 24 months, that means losing is a certainty. So the only option was to do it ourselves. So then if you break down the problem, I guess I'm doing like reasoning here, with like, makes you think.
one single chain though.
Yeah, exactly. So well, we needed a building. We can't build a building, so we must use an existing building. So we looked for basically for factories that had been abandoned, but the factory was in good shape, like the company had gone bankrupt or something. So we found an Electrolux factory in Memphis. That's why it's in Memphis, home of Elvis, and also one of the oldest. I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt. And it was actually a very nice factory that, I don't know, for whatever reason, that Electrolux had left. So that gave us shelter for the computers. Then we needed power. We needed at least 120 megawatts at first, but the building only had 15 megawatts. And ultimately, for 200,000 GPUs, we needed a quarter gigawatt. So we initially leased a whole bunch of generators. So we have generators on one side of the building, just trailer after trailer of generators, until we can get the utility power to come in. But then we also need cooling. So on the other side of the building, it was just trailer after trailer of cooling. So we leased about a quarter of the mobile cooling capacity of the United States on the other side of the building. Then we needed to get the GPUs all installed, and they're all liquid cooled. So in order to achieve the density necessary, this is a liquid cooled system. So we had to get all the plumbing for the liquid cooling. Nobody had ever done a liquid cooling data center at scale. So this was incredibly dedicated effort by a very talented team to achieve that outcome. I may think, now it's going to work. Nope. The issue is that the power fluctuations for a GPU cluster are dramatic. So it's like this giant symphony that is taking place. Like imagine having a symphony with 100,000 or 200,000 participants in the symphony, and the whole orchestra will go quiet and loud in 100 milliseconds. And so this caused massive power fluctuations. So then, which then caused the generators to lose their minds, and they weren't expecting this. So to buffer the power, we then used Tesla megapacks to smooth out the power. So the megapacks had to be reprogrammed. So with XAI, working with Tesla, we reprogrammed the megapacks to be able to deal with these dramatic power fluctuations to smooth out the power so that the computers could actually run properly. And that worked. It was quite tricky. But even at that point, you still have to make the computers all communicate effectively. So all the networking had to be solved, and debugging a bazillion network cables, debugging nickel at 4 in the morning. I think we solved it like
4:20
roughly 4:20 a.m.
Yes, thank you.
Was when we figured out like there's some. Well, there were a whole bunch of issues. Well, like one there was like a BIOS mismatch.
Yeah, exactly. The BIOS was not set up correctly.
Yeah.
We had to diff our LSPCI outputs between two different machines, one that was working, one that was not working. Yeah, many other things.
I mean, yeah, exactly. This would go on for a long time if we actually listed all the things. But you know, it's like interesting. It's not like, oh, we just magically made it happen. You have to break down the problem, just like Grok does for reasoning, into the constituent elements, and then solve each of the constituent elements in order to achieve a coherent training cluster in a period of time that is a small fraction of what anyone else could do it in.
And then once the training cluster was up and running and we could use it, we had to make sure that it actually stays healthy throughout, which is its own giant challenge. And then we had to get every single detail of the training right in order to get a Grok-free level model, which is actually really, really hard. So we don't know if there are any other models out there that have Grok-free's capabilities, but whoever trains a model better than Grok-free has to be extremely good at the science of deep learning at every aspect of the engineering. So it's not so easy to pull this off.
And this is now going to be the last cluster we built and last model we train.
Oh yeah, we've already started work on the next cluster, which will be about 5 times the power. So instead of a quarter gigawatt, roughly 1.2 gigawatts. What's the Back to the Future was? What's the power on there's like the Back to the Future car?
Yeah.
Anyway, the Back to the Future power car. It's like roughly in that order, I think. And you know, these will be the sort of the GB200/300 cluster. It once again, it'll be the most powerful training cluster in the world. So we're not like stopping here.
No. And our reasoning model is going to continue to improve by accessing more tools every day. So yeah, we're very excited to share any of the upcoming results with you all.
Yeah, the thing that keeps us going is basically being able to give Grok free to you, and then seeing the usage go up, seeing everybody enjoy. Grok, that's what really gets us up in the morning. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Awesome.
Everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Grok, what's up?
Can you hear me? I'm so excited to finally meet you. I can't wait to chat and learn more about each other. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, testing. Let me know how the sound is. Testing. All right, very cool. So, yeah, chat. You guys are chat is going very, very hard. So usually I'm able to keep up with most of it. But yeah, very, very cool. Thank you so much for tuning in. So this is a little bit late for me, so I apologize if I'm kind of out of it. But I am going to do my best to kind of summarize some of the thoughts that we had so far, and I was trying to take notes based on some of the things that were kind of some of the things that you guys were saying, some of the things that they were saying. So first of all, Dr. Kyle Cabasares is in the chat. If you wanted to, Dr. Kyle, if you wanted to do a live stream later, I don't know if you're gonna put this thing up to the test, because I mean they said they were gonna release it today, so I haven't even tested that out. But if you're gonna do a live stream, kind of let me know. I probably got enough steam here for maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. So if you were gonna do it later tonight, we can probably roll it over if some of the people wanted to join your stream afterwards, if you're doing it. If not, no big deal. Of course. And let me see. So Dr. Kyle, for those people that are not aware, so he was the one, if you recall, he was when, I think it was the O1 Mini when it came out. So he did his PhD dissertation with a group of people on something black holes. Sorry, something about approaching the event horizon or something like that. I have no clue. But there was a large sort of database, a lot of code that had to be written by him to make that whole simulation work. And apparently the O1 Mini was able to do it, or maybe it was the O1 Preview. I don't recall, but like I remember during the live stream, it was kind of like this realization, like, wait, it can do that. And apparently it was different from the actual code. O1 Preview, thank you. And it was apparently it was different from the code that Dr. Kyle wrote, because it was, and he even suggested some, like, here's how to make it a little bit better or a little bit more efficient, a little bit more streamlined. So that was very interesting to watch. Testing. Let's see, is that a little bit better? For the sound. Yeah, let me do some basically let's go over a little bit kind of like what they announced. And I'll kind of play around with the sound so that everything sounds good, hopefully. So, okay, so first and foremost, it was nice having a seat at the table with everybody. I felt like I was there. It was, it did seem like I was there off to the side. So at first I thought they were trying to pull a fast one, because they were comparing Grok 3, they were comparing it to the O4, I think, which would have been not kind of a apples to apples comparison, but apparently, so there's multiple models. They have kind of like their Grok model, they have the Grok 3, then they have Grok 3 reasoning. And when they showed the reasoning, initially they were comparing the Grok 3 to the O4 in the first few minutes. But then they sort of said, no, but the Grok 3 reasoning model, they compared it to, the O1 Preview, the O3 Mini. And so that one looks like it's either, like, it's like 1 point away. It's 1 point away from the O3 full. Testing. So it sounds like it's very, very close to the O3 full, which we don't even have access to yet, right? So that's kind of like, I mean, that's impressive. Again, we got to test it out. We got to see. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, it's late. The 4.0, I apologize. The 4.0, the Omni model, the one that's kind of like set by default, the one with the advanced voice mode. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a little bit late. I know my brain's not going to be 100% functional right now. Yeah, I apologize. The 4.0 model, right? Not the non-reasoner. I thought they were comparing a reasoning model to the non-reasoning model. This is what I meant to say, but later they showed the chart where it was the Grok 3 reasoning compared to the O3. And the O3 full specifically, which we do have the AI.me, that's kind of like mainly what I'm talking about it. The AI.me, the 2024 and 2025, I gotta say that's incredibly impressive. So that is, so I'm in the US for people asking. Yeah, I was impressed, because we believe, as far as we understand, is that they kind of like, when they're training these models, they roll kind of one into the next. So the first one, they generate the reasoning with it. Then they use that reasoning to train the next generation of models. And what that means is, it's possible that OpenAI, it sounds like back in, November 2023, when you had the leak about the Q star and all of that stuff, that's probably when they figured it out, because that technology has been kind of, they were talking about it for a while. I think it started with the Stanford paper, the quiet reasoner, the bootstrap yourself to intelligence. I forget what it's called, but that's when they started talking about star. And and then Quiet Star, so Q Star. I think that's how they got that name. So they've been doing it for a while. So the fact that when they showed the chart where there was like Grok 1, Grok 2, and now Grok 3, they did catch up fast. And that was very interesting because, and this is their first reasoning model. So this is incredibly, you know, you got to hand it to them. They did something huge here. The other thing is like the data center that they were talking about, how many GPUs and stuff that they have. I remember Elon Musk referred to building a factory. I think one of the Tesla factories, he was like, it's like speed running Factorio, which I thought was kind of hilarious. Basically, the idea is that, I mean, they built that thing in, I think, if I recall correctly, 122 days, which is insane. I think that's what I think that's the correct number. But anyways, whatever the case is, it's insanely fast, insanely fast, so they can build all that infrastructure. And it sounds like it's got 3 levels. They got power, then they got the liquid cooling, and then they have the actual the data center, the GPUs running, which is funny because that's also kind of how a lot of people build in Factorio. So I feel like Elon really takes a lot of inspiration from these games, but it's absolutely insane. So somebody's saying that they are doing some distillation or some of the architecture similar to DeepSeek. Yeah, I'd be interested to know more. So I have somebody saying Dell built it. That's interesting. Is that the case? And so I think, you know, that whole discussion with the, you know, NVIDIA, like, are we going to need more GPUs, less GPUs? What's interesting is that Demis Hassabis recently, I think I saw this quote by him yesterday. So he kind of confirmed what, if you saw my earlier DeepSeek videos, so some people were basically, they weren't sure if the DeepSeek costs for training that model, if they were true or not, if they were accurate. Kind of my take on it was, that while the number that they reported for training that model, whatever it was, 5-6 million, whatever it was, I think that was accurate, and a lot of people confirmed it. But that was not the cost for all of the stuff that they had to do prior to that. And Demis Hassabis recently, I think in the last couple of days, said something very similar, right? So they probably build multiple models, a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the tons of other stuff to then be able to produce that $6 million model, right? And the other thing that I think this demonstrates is that NVIDIA, I mean, look at that, it's still in business, right? So they built the Colossus infrastructure. So I think they said, what, like 100,000 GPUs, 200,000, right? And, you know, they turned that into something that was, I mean, they said this was the first reasoning model they trained. So they skipped O1. They skipped all of that stuff, and they skipped all that stuff, and they pulled out Grok 3 that's at the same level as the O3, right? So to me, and let me know in the comments and chat if I'm missing something, but man, does that seem to confirm that the scaling laws are still in effect, right? So you got you got the GPUs, you can just crank out the best model, right? So yeah, you just, if you have enough chips, you just walk in and you just spin up world-class models. So somebody's saying it's at the level of O3 mini high, not O3 full. Okay, so I might have, let me double check some of the numbers. I thought it was both, they were both like 96 or 95 or something. Oh, okay. So I'm mainly talking about the AIME. That's kind of like the one that I was looking at, specifically the AIME 2025. I think that one just came out. Let's see, what else? I had no idea that Elon actually commented on Path of Exile 2, on PoE 2, because there was a huge controversy where he was posting that he was playing some hardcore character and he's like one of the top ranked players in the world. I played PoE 2, and I'm not running however many companies he has, and I can barely find time to play. I would never play a hardcore character because that seems like one mistake and you just die. But the point is, like, Elon Musk is on the top of the leaderboards, and so a lot of people kind of questioned it, and they pointed out some issues with it. And I looked at it, and it's certainly, when I was looking at the videos originally when that whole thing was coming out, I was like, man, it sure seems like there's something funky going on here. It didn't look like he put in just the sheer amount of hours that it would take to climb those leaderboards. And so I was wondering if he sort of answered that he had guys playing for him, he had people playing for him. So it sounds like that was the case. Somebody said that he got into it with Asmongold or something like that. So I do have to catch up on that. He admitted it now. People are saying, okay, that's interesting. So give me one quick second and let me see if I can pull up Grok here. What's everybody's kind of a takeaway about Grok? Specifically, I mean, I tend to usually look at just like the best of the best model, right? So, I mean, the mini models will be interesting. The non-reasoning model, it sounds like there's a non-reasoning and a reasoning model. That's going to be interesting. But, I mean, really, I'm interested in the big reasoner model. And it's interesting that they were able to just produce that as their first model. Oh yeah, so somebody was saying about the sort of hiding the chain of thought, right? So all these models. Okay, Kyle is saying he can't stream it. Okay, we don't have access to it. I thought they said, did they say they were releasing it like ASAP, or did they say it's going to take some time? Released today. Okay. So so I might be able to log in here. All right, one second. Please stand by. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm able to, it looks like I have it. So I'm trying to log in right now. So it looks like you have to connect the two accounts. So if you have the premium or the premium plus, whatever it is, account on X, then you should be able to just connect those two. But I'm just seeing Grok 2 for now. So I might not be able to test it right now. So you have to update the app. Well, so I'm trying to do it on Grok.com, which they've announced. And then let me see if the app is available. It would kind of suck to do it through the app. Because then you can't, I mean, it would be nice to be able to have it on a desktop. Yeah, I'm Premium Plus. Like 90% sure. Yeah, no, because I mean, yeah, on there, if you wanted to have the check mark or whatever, like you got to be Premium Plus or Premium, I forget. There's like a couple different levels, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I have everything. Yeah, I don't have Grok 3 yet, so it sounds like they said it's going to be rolling out, but I don't have it quite yet. But if I do, we'll test it out today. If not, I'll just put out a video tomorrow, etc. The other big piece of news that I am very much looking forward to is, you know, they're doing some sort of a video game development studio within xAI. And so one of the things that's going to be really interesting to me is that, so the intersection of gaming and AI is obviously going to be huge. It's going to be insane for just so many reasons, right? Not just from the development perspective, right? Because it's like you have the AI assisted coding tools. You have tons of Gen AI that can generate worlds, right? So we've seen Doom that's rendered by neural nets. We've seen Minecraft rendered by neural nets. If you've seen some of the stuff that Google DeepMind is doing in that arena, they have their Genie project, the Doom game engine. That was their project. They had tons of other ones like where it plays Goat Simulator or whatever, like with a keyboard and mouse. I'm probably forgetting a few, but they have tons of those. So not only from the ability to generate games, create games, develop games, but also obviously large language models are going to be excellent for creating characters, like deep, immersive characters that you can chat with. If you enjoy dark humor, what is the channel where the guy sounds a little bit like the Johnny Depp character, the pirate character? What's his name? But he's got a VR and he's playing Skyrim, and he goes around in the thief, in the Dark Brotherhood, I think it was the Dark Brotherhood storyline. Yeah, and he decides to turn all the little kids that are in the Captain Jack Sparrow. He sounds like Jack, but this is a YouTube channel where the guy kind of acts like him, and just goes on this rampage using virtual reality goggles, and he somehow manages to attach a large language models, I think it was ChatGPT, so that the characters are voiced and they respond to him in real time. It's incredible. Krusty, that's the one. I'm not gonna play it, but oh my god, if you enjoy dark humor, I'll post. Yeah, I am Krusty, and just do VR Skyrim. I just very hilarious. So, but that will give you an idea for kind of like what's possible. The other channel that, yeah, some of it is very mean. I was kind of like whoa, like this is dark. Yeah, it got very dark in places. There's another channel that did another virtual reality thing where they're talking to different models. There's like Gemini, GPT-4, and I think Llama. And it was like one is Genghis Khan, or yeah, like one is Cleopatra, Genghis Khan. It's like all the historical leaders, and they're on the train, and like they're trying to figure out who the human is. So he has to sit there amongst these AIs and try to pretend that he's an AI, tries not to get caught. And it's really like super immersive, right? It creates kind of this conversational thing, incredibly immersive, because it feels like you're playing with real people. but people that are not going to mess around, they're not going to get distracted, they're not going to leave, right? So in certain ways, this is like kind of like playing these multiplayer games, but I think potentially it's going to be a lot more interesting. You know, one of the papers that I'm covering right now, that the video should hopefully be out in the next couple of days, is they taught this game to play. They used large language models with reinforcement learning to teach it to play Among Us. So something like that, I think, is going to be just incredibly interesting as these things get better at like conversation. I mean, they're good enough to do it right now. It's just connecting them to these games. Let's see what else. Let me check if there's any updates on Grok. Yeah, so the gaming studio is going to be massive, and I think, I mean, it's going to be huge. I think that's going to be a very successful company, or it's not even a company. I think it's under the XAI umbrella. AI is going to be sus, exactly. It's under the XAI umbrella, and you know, if you saw what's happening, like, was it Ubisoft or whatever, they're down like 85%. Their stock price is down like 85% over the last 5 years, at a time when kind of like the global spend for games is just like going through the roof. And you know, so there's there's a split between kind of like what the audiences want, where there's different audiences that want different things. And the people that feel kind of like maybe a little bit like underrepresented, or the people that are thinking that like the old school games are not really being made anymore by these large companies, it seems like. And I think that Elon is going to come in and maybe just like really take that niche, kind of take that space. And I think it's going to be, it might be really good. And I mean, I'm not talking about the politics behind it, because I know a lot of people, like I know Elon Musk is a very controversial figure. I posted like a little poll the other day, and I kind of regretted it, because like a lot of people just like even talking about anything related to him. I know there's a lot of people that are, he's a very polarizing figure, so I understand that. But I think that there's going to be I would expect that some of the games that studio is going to make could be just absolute massive hits. And it seems like what that means is that the reasoning model, the Grok 3, kind of like the reasoning model, might be very good at coding. You know, OpenAI showed recently how reinforcement learning can create, like Sam was saying, that internally they have somebody that's like ranked 50th in the world. So they have an internal model that's ranked 50th in the world for coding, according to Code Forces. Somebody's saying we should review the terms of and conditions of the AI companies. That's interesting. Actually, I mean, I would throw the terms and conditions into ChatGPT or whatever model, and then I did it before, where I would say like find anything that's suspicious, or any hidden fees for like lease contracts and stuff like that. Let's see. So people are saying that actually, yeah. So direct chat is available on the what's it called? The Arena, Chatbot Arena. Yes, so that's a good point, Dr. Kyle, to be fair. So the ranking is competitive programming. So yeah, so basically it's not like really representative of real world tasks. They had some other ones that they showed on there that I think were more in line with real engineering tasks. And so it's going to be interesting to see how much, because really that's a very important question, because if it's able to do real world software engineering tasks, that would kind of, I mean, that would be bad for a lot of people that are employed in the field. Whereas if it's really good at doing a lot of these little subtasks, that would be almost good, right? Because it would like enable people to do more. It would make them more, at least that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Whereas if it's like a replacement for people and it's like inexpensive, man, like I don't know how, like that seems kind of scary. Somebody's saying like, what is competitive programming? It's like, if you know in chess, you have chess puzzles, right? They don't really represent necessarily how good you are in chess, but some people are good at solving those, you know what I mean? If you've seen that, what is it, Queen's Gambit or whatever, that sort of series, that was pretty good, I thought. You know, she said like she would never touch the little chess puzzles. She would only play the games. So I think competitive programming is like, they're kind of like exam problems, but they're not necessarily representative of like if you were a software engineer, how you would go about like approaching a task and doing it from beginning to end, so to speak. All right. Somebody remind me, how do I, oh, direct chat. So I can chat with it in direct chat. Yeah, okay. SWE bench. Somebody's saying, yeah, that's the one that they've used in their paper, I think, to do some more stuff that's like more representative. They were doing SWE bench verified, I think, to represent some of the more real world tasks. And I think I don't remember the numbers right now, but I mean, it did do well on that as well. So to the people just joining, so Grok 3 dropped, and it's slowly being rolled out to everybody that has the Premium Plus membership, the Premium membership, in Twitter. And apparently they're also going to do some sort of a super mode. And Grok 3 looks good. It looks very, very good. So and yeah, so on the Arena, the Chatbot Arena, the early version of Grok 3, codenamed Chocolate, is the number one. Number one across all categories. Holy moly. Yeah, so this is posted by LM Arena. So, I mean, yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke. It's number one, first ever model to break the 1400 score, number one across all categories, a milestone that keeps getting harder to achieve. So, a couple of things. I mean, number one, Gemini 2.0 Flash is number two. Is number two. That's interesting. Yeah, it's got. But anyway, so this is, I believe, we can do direct chat with Grok. Yeah, but basically the big overview is like Elon. It sounds like he wasn't kidding. So far we're just going off of like Arena, Chatbot Arena. We're going off of the sort of the benchmarks that they've presented. based on those, it looks phenomenal. It looks very, very good, very strong. And I think this really, I'd be curious to see how like the NVIDIA kind of investors react to this, because this seems to kind of imply that the whole idea that that DeepSeek and stuff like that, kind of like the damage that they did, to people's belief in the NVIDIA stock, that's not going to hold. Because look, I mean, Elon was able to build the largest single supercompute cluster, in one location, build up the liquid cooling and all that stuff, whatever he was talking about, and came from from way behind, right? He had a late start, comes out and is able to produce something on par with O3, right? So and that's the first model, as far as we can tell, if I understand correctly. Maybe they've trained up a few other ones. But man, it went from, I mean, you saw that chart that they showed at the beginning, like they caught up fast. And basically what that's saying is, if you have enough NVIDIA chips, you can basically buy your way to the number one model, right? You can train it up. So I feel like that sort of like really sends a strong signal to the fact that scaling laws are still going strong, NVIDIA is still going strong. And the fact that he's saying like they're going to try to, I think he said they're going to 5x it. So I think the goal is to take it from 200,000 chips, GPUs, right, to 1 million. So that's going to be interesting, and it's going to be obviously good for the prices of NVIDIA chips. I think they're going to continue going strong. Let's see. So this is Grok 3. And do we have some prompts that we want to ask it? Yes, Dr. Kyle. So you had a humanities last exam entry that didn't get accepted. That's interesting. Yeah, if you want to post it, we'll definitely throw it in there. Um, so in terms of like OpenAI's response, I mean, obviously it seems like this is not Grok. Somebody's saying, is this not Grok? It says Grok 3. Is that not? This means it's Grok 3. Can somebody confirm that? So Grok 3, I'm in the direct chat, LM Arena. Grok 3, and let's see. It's sometimes hard to make stuff appear on the screen, like correctly, in the way that. So I apologize if it's a little bit messy, or sometimes you don't get to see the right thing. So here I can't, if it has some sort of a chain of thought behind the scenes, I'm not able to see that. So it seemed like in the beginning they were saying that there was, several different models. They have mini, and they have kind of like the normal one, the big one, but they also had one, and they had the reasoning model. So is this the reasoning model, right? Because if it's not, that's kind of a waste of time testing it. Because really, like, what we're interested in is the reasoning model. It is not, people are saying. Okay. Dr. Kyle, did you post the actual entry and I missed it? Oh, somebody's saying it keeps cutting off mid-response. Yeah, you know, okay, so some of this, let me try this really fast. This might be interesting because this was from the demo. Let me do clear, and let's try that. So that's Grok 3. So that's actually that's a good test for it, because basically we're able to have it. We're going to see if it's able to do the same thing that it did in the test demo. Okay, so Dr. Kyle, it's huge. It's like multiple part thing, it sounds like. But yeah, if it's breaking it up, if it's like running out of tokens, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I might have to do this at a later time, because oh, sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't see my screen. So I put in the code for the animated 3D plot of a launch from Earth landing on Mars, and then back to Earth at the next launch window. So this is what they did in the live demo, and we specify those Python, okay. So I can check to see how well that's gonna work. Give me a second. Why do they have to do it so late at night? I gotta say, I feel like I'm so much better with this stuff in the morning. I do feel a little bit checked out, so I do apologize. Mm-hmm. Is it past my bedtime? Yeah. Yes. It's past my bedtime. I am old. Get off my lawn. All of that stuff. No, but yeah, one of the things that I've been trying to do this year is getting up earlier. Trying to get more sun. And yeah, just being a little bit more healthy, because unfortunately with the stuff that I do, I love doing it, but I do tend to just sit in my room a large portion of the day, and just do, like research and testing stuff, and messing around with the different models and stuff like that, doing videos. But some Colombian coffee and everything gets better. I do have some of that. Yes, sir. I don't know what I would do without Costco. Wait a minute. So it does seem like it cut off. Yep, it cut off. Okay. Yeah. So do you have a standing desk? I think I'm gonna. It's funny. I was at Costco earlier, actually today. Now that I think about it, and I was looking for a standing desk because they have a good one. So I am thinking about getting one. I used to have one. I used to have an under the desk treadmill back in the days. Didn't didn't work too well for me. I don't know why. Just yeah, Kroner Builder, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, like waking up earlier. I did the whole Miracle Morning for a little bit, if people know what that is, and that felt good. It's hard to keep up. Um, but yeah. Oh, plus, what's his name? The Don't Die guy. Brian Johnson, like every day, like around the evening, he's like yelling at everybody to go to sleep. Um, yeah, so for Dr. Kyle, I apologize if I missed some of your messages. Like the thing is just going really, really fast. But so if you guys want to, I guess tomorrow or whenever, the full Grok 3 releases, Dr. Kyle Kawasaris. I didn't know this. Apparently, he had a submission to humanities last exam, which is kind of supposed to be a very difficult test for these models, for the LLMs. So those are going to be really good to test this stuff. Yeah, the whole thing about the vitamin D skylights, that's interesting. So is that kind of like the SAD lamp, the seasonal affective disorder lamp skylights? Is that what that is? Because yeah, I feel like I need more vitamin D, and it's really difficult to do it with supplementation unless you're doing kind of like high doses. It seems like like the regular suggested doses of vitamin D don't really move the needle. Okay, so got the right answer after 3 to 4 continuations. If it stops, okay. So yes, okay. I've used this thing, but it was a while ago. I remember doing direct chat. So you just prompted to continue? Okay. No, it's not even microdosing it. It's like, I think when they prescribe you the stuff, they'll do like 50,000, whatever the units, UI, whatever the units are. But it's like one of those things. Oh, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Yeah, like the 5,000, I think, is like the bare minimum, it seems like. I think there's people that are suggesting doing much, much more than that for a number of days or weeks until you get back into the range. And then like the 5,000 or whatever, that will keep you there. But if you're like under, you need to get back towards like the mid range or a little bit higher. Like you need a lot more of that. Um, if I understand correctly. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, love her and all the stuff that she does. So she's got a whole like write up on it, which is very, very interesting. But yeah, I feel like if you're vitamin D deficient, and most people are, and then you also got to have like the magnesium and stuff like that. Like stuff like really gets out of whack. Um, Okay, so I clicked continue, and does this? So did it do? It did more. Oh, sorry. I apologize. I'm not switching back and forth between my screens effectively. So I'm trying to get it to work. Yeah, usually I'm a lot sharper. I apologize. It's kind of late, so I apologize if I'm not showing the right thing on screen. So I'm trying to get it to continue producing this thing, so we can test it out. In the meantime, let me see if I have it available in the actual real version or even in the app. Nope, I still don't have the app. I don't have it in grok.com. Yes, shockingly, it's not working for me. It's 6 a.m. out here, Bully Bulldog says. Where in the world are you? Is that Europe? Probably Europe somewhere, I would guess. Update the Grok app. What are you on? Are you on Android or are you on Apple? Bulgaria, 6:53 in Spain. EU, very, very cool. Am I planning to switch away from Twitter? I had an interesting experience on Twitter actually the other day. So like 7 days ago, I made this commitment to try to get monetized on there. And what that means is like you have to have 5 million impressions in 90 days or whatever. And so like, you know how you sometimes like you set an intention. Tech Solution says love from India, love right back. So you know how sometimes you set like an intention and you go, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do this. So I set this intention and I like just really like focused on it. And then two of my tweets like really went viral, I guess, or like bigger than anything that I've had before. And basically I went from doing, you know, very, very low. I thought it would take me till the end of the year to get to 5 million views in a 90-day period, to where it happened in like 2 or 3 days. And so 7 days ago, I made a goal to get monetized on Twitter. And like 4 days ago, I got monetized on Twitter. So I I'm gonna stick with Twitter. I'm considering doing some other stuff as well, because I mean there's Threads, and then there's I think Mastodon, right? I'm not sure. I haven't tested those. I don't have a Facebook anything. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I don't have. Or I guess Threads is under Facebook as well. I have WhatsApp. That's the only Facebook Meta product that I've used. Chubby looked out. Yeah, Chubby on Twitter. Is that who you're talking about? Who you're talking about? TikTok. I don't even know what's happening to TikTok. It was supposed to be cut, but I guess they're still around. Did Perplexity buy TikTok? Is that what happened? Oh, Blue Sky is the other one. That's right. A lot of people were talking about Blue Sky. Man, it's hard to beat the network effect, right? So like Twitter, X, whatever, that's where everybody started. And then when Elon bought it, right, tons of people tried to start their own thing. And even before Elon bought it, there was attempts to replicate it. But it's like, man, it's like wherever the network effect is, wherever the network effect kind of like takes off, that's where stuff happens. And man, is that hard to beat. All right, I'm testing to see if I have Grok 3. Yeah, I've had. Oh, okay. I have Grok 3. I think I have it. All right. So we have it. Give me one sec. Does anybody have the? I'm so sorry. This is why I try to do stuff in the morning. I am like half asleep here. But does anybody have that prompt that they've had for asking about the blood god? Who had the prompt about that they used in the presentation about the Mars thing? Remember when they did that little simulation with? Yep, thank you, Apocalypse. Yeah, I remember when they were showing that simulation on screen. Dr. Kyle was like, "That's not to scale," which I thought that was funny. Boom. Okay, that's very fast. See, this makes me think this might be the mini, just based on the speed that it's going. It's not thinking. It's not the reasoning model. Which I guess should be fine. But I mean, as you can see, that was extremely fast. And I don't have any other options to change it. Do you have it set to deep thinking? Oh, wait, so hang on. So let me throw that into you guys use the VS Code, or do you guys use something like PyCharm usually for running this stuff? Let me see. I'm going to copy it in there. All right, gonna install some stuff. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, look at that. Okay, so this was from the presentation. It looks a little bit different, which I think is fine. But wait, so what do we ask it exactly to demonstrate for us? Because I'm only seeing that does not look right. Yeah. Yeah, that's not what I meant. What do they call it? The mini and the bigger models were called the reasoners. Okay, so it's searching, so it's not gonna. I don't think that's the reasoner. That's not the reasoning model. I don't have the. Okay, here's what I think is the issue. Okay, I think I'm getting it. So this is grok.com, right? So I can select Grok 2 or Grok 3, but I don't have the options that they had. Okay, so they had a tab with the option. Okay. So basically in the demo, they have multiple options that I'm not seeing here. If any, does anybody in chat, do you guys have it? And is there a way to switch it? So I'm Premium Plus. Let me see. He said there will be another tier at 40 USD per month. So I'm wondering that what he was he referring to the Premium Plus? Is that what he was referring to with the when he said $40 a month? Was he taking the, because I think it's like a monthly fee or a yearly fee, and he was just like dividing that. X Pro. All right. He said 40 though. Yeah. How can I see what my if I'm premium? I mean, so I know I'm premium. I have XAI, I have premium, but there's also X Pro, there's like Premium Plus. It's a little bit confusing. But the point is, I don't have the same buttons that they did on there. So the buttons that they had, one, yeah. So somebody was saying, one of them was like, look in settings, as somebody's saying. So they had Big Brain, they had a couple other ones. Grok was not able to answer that question because they did a search. So somebody was saying that they have who said that they have Premium Plus? So where can you tell what you have? You got to get Super Grok. Okay, you know what? I do have. This is weird. So I do have those options in x.com, not on grok.com. Okay? So deep search is what online search, and think is the reasoning model, right? If I'm understanding that correctly. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So, okay, so I do have access to it, but let's see. All right. Yeah. DM me and I can run it. Are we? I gotta make sure you're if we're following on there. One sec. I mean, we must be. Okay, so John Leonard saying so no big brain mode. That's for the $40 a month for whatever. Oh, the super Grok. Oh yeah, Dr. Kyle, please feel free to shoot it over here. So K1M1, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. And yeah, I'm loving this. Hopefully I'm not too checked out yet. So oops. Where is the I need to get the all right, there we go. I'm figuring stuff out. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to generate the code for that 3D launch from Earth, and we're going to be using Think, right? So Think is the reasoning model. There we go. Okay, so that's running. So let's give it some time. And Andre Karpathy tested Grok 3 and posted it on his X 44 minutes ago. Sleep deprivation till inspiration comes. Yeah, right? So I think that it took 122 seconds rather, when they ran the prompt, if I remember correctly. Okay, so I'm seeing the physics problem. The Pokemon electrode can be modeled as a non-uniformly charged sphere. Okay, I love it. I love it. So I have that. That's going to be super interesting to see if it's going to be able to answer that. Okay. And meanwhile, so somebody said Andre Karpathy reviewed this thing already. Now, he did used to work with Elon at Tesla. He's very well connected, actually, because he's friends with NVIDIA's AI researcher, Dr. Jim Fan. Sounds like he's, he worked with Elon Musk. Okay, so he got early access to, so this is Andre Karpathy. He got early access to Grok. To run a quick vibe check as he says it. So Grok 3 clearly has an around state-of-the-art thinking model. The think button, okay. Settlers of Catan question. I'm considering getting one of those little apps where you're able to just point at something and then you speak and it types it out. I know a few people have recommended different apps like that, but if you know of an app that's really good for that, I would love to hear it. So where I'm able to, like, if I need to type something in chat, I just like put the mouse over it, push a button, speak what I want to type in, let go of the button, and it just prints it, you know? Or Lily Chat, I think that's the one. I've heard. Lily Chat, people are saying Lily Chat. Boom. Okay, yeah, I think that's the one that people have recommended me. Thank you. That's gonna make my life so much easier. I've got this microphone sitting here. Oh, this is interesting. So for the people that may have missed this, so there's a way to hide hidden messages in emojis. It was just fascinating. So I think Andre Karpathy talked about it. I did a little tweet about it. Pliny the prompter just took it to a whole different level. And but it sounds like Grok 3 is not able to solve it yet. Or it's not able to, solve it and figure out how that thing was encoded. DeepSeek R1 was the only one that partially decoded the message. The costs for Grok 3, you mean how much it cost them? You know what? I don't even know if we know. I think semi-analysis, I think they predicted that GPT-4 cost 60 million to train. And that was the last time. And then we know, DeepSeek was 6 million or whatever it was, 6 million. I don't know of any other numbers that are like available to us in terms of these big models, how much they've trained, how much the training costs were. So it thought for 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and it generated this code for us. So I'm guessing I gotta pip install some stuff. Let me see here. Grok 3 should be on LM Arena. All right, so here's its rendition of that little prompt. I had to install some libraries. All right. Does that looks good, right? Jim Moriarty. It's a good name. PyCharm, yeah. It was faster. Yeah, if you have Premium Plus, you have access to Grok 3. Well, it's being rolled out. Where did the spacecraft go? So the green thing. All right, what happened to Mars? Okay, so here it is leaving Earth. And approaching the Mars orbit, right? So that looks correct so far, right? It didn't transfer to Mars correctly. Not correct, way off. Oh yeah, and then it. Interesting. Okay. It's glitch. Yeah, Houston. We have Houston. We have a problem. Yeah, that's what that looks like. Okay, let me try the electromagnetism Pokemon electrode problem. All right, so this is from Dr. Kyle Cabasares. So he's this was submitted to the humanities last exam, and so we've selected think, which should be the reasoning, and I've just copied and pasted it. The answer is 3. Okay, well that's going to be easy to verify. I like that. All right, let's send it on its quest. All right, so we'll leave it alone for a second. So one of the coolest things that I liked doing with the O3 Mini High was that I was able to, so, you know, we started with a basic snake game, which obviously should be super easy because that's, you know, it's going to be in its sort of data for sure, right? So, but what I did was I added some things that you know, I haven't seen before, which is like adding random intervals or adding random obstacles that would pop up every minute. There's I apologize, I'm like falling asleep. So every second, 2 obstacles would pop up, and if the thing crashed into the obstacle, it would lose it. It will lose the game, and then I told it to create a script that would run it through and see if it get the high score, and it did that perfectly. Next step was asking it to do a PyTorch reinforcement learning training pipeline to teach that thing to play the snake game. And it did extremely well, I thought, right? So it kind of created a text base level, like almost simulation of it. And it did the whole thing. It like ran through a bunch of epochs until like the thing learned to play the game better. And then we loaded into the game. It wasn't as good as the Python script that it wrote initially, but the fact that it could walk me through all of that was a good video. Thank you. I really enjoyed making that one. Yes, I am glitching. I'm falling asleep. That was very cool. Since then, I wanted to record a second video because I've actually figured out how to do a lot more interesting stuff with it. One very interesting thing that that I've learned to do with it is, and let me show you kind of a little diagram. So I've covered this on the channel before. So this is Eureka from NVIDIA. So Dr. Jim Fan and the team, and so they used GPT-4, I think, at the time, to create the reward policies for various things. And they did something that hasn't been done before, which is they taught this little shadow hand right in a simulation in NVIDIA's Isaac Gym to spin a pen, do those little pen spinning tricks. I think that was the first time that anybody was able to do it. And how they did it, I thought was kind of fascinating because they got GPT-4 to write the reward function for it, right? So GPT-4 would write the function. that would go into the GPU accelerated reinforcement learning. Isaac Jim, I think, yeah, they were using. Then they would do reward reflection, right? So the sort of the data, how well it did, would come out, and then would feed it back into GPT-4. So the next thing that I was trying to do was Mushin Khalif, what's going on? The next thing that I was trying to get it to do was to do that with the O3 Mini High. So you saw, if you saw the video where we were training it to play the snake game, so we did this part and this part, and it did okay. What I did off camera, and I wanted to do a second video, is I asked it then, do a little, in the code for the RL training pipeline, write out like a little report so that once it's done, you pull out some of the data that you would need to further optimize that reinforcement learning pipeline. And it did. So it like, okay, let's do a little report on this. So then I take that once it runs and I just post it back into into O3 Mini High. And so it would be able to continuously improve that thing, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I feel like that's kind of and I think that's, as far as I can tell, that's like the first model that's able to do that. So if Grok 3 can do that, I would be extremely, extremely impressed. All right, so now we have the answer to Dr. Kyle's problem, which was this thing up here. We believe. Oh, nice. Okay. Dr. Kyle got access to Grok 3. If you feel up to it, I am like, if you wanted to do a live stream, I'm probably going to be, I got like 15, 20, maybe 30 more minutes in me. And then I think I'm gonna crash. So if you wanted to take, start a stream at that point, I'm sure a lot of people, because I mean, for a lot of people it's 6 a.m. They're they're getting up. They wanna see this thing in action. Okay, so it thought for 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and I'm gonna have to probably DM you back this thing. Okay, so Dr. Kyle will be streaming afterwards. You guys can check him out on YouTube. So just type in his name into YouTube, and I'll post the link once we're done. Does anybody know if YouTube supports, what is it called? On Twitch, they call it like stream rating, where it like redirects the thing. But let me know if YouTube has that. I mean, I'll check. I don't know if they have that functionality or not. Where I got this prompt from was from Dr. Kyle. So he posted this. He submitted it to Humanities Last Exam. And here's... I like that the answer was 3. No, YouTube does not allow that. Okay. I like that the answer is 3 because that's like easy to verify that it's correct. I love it because it's like tons of thinking that goes into it. But I mean, this is looking very interesting how it's like working through the problem. Now, obviously, I have no idea if this is looking good or not, but I mean, I'm assuming if it gets the correct answer, then it figured it out. Yeah, this is a great question. This seems like a phenomenal question to ask it. What happened here? It says 5.5 tera newtons. Alien Cantina, thank you so much for the gift memberships, 10 Wes Roth memberships. I thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, everybody that got it, please thank Alien Cantina for that. And okay, so this is not the correct answer. Okay, let me. Well, I assume you're gonna do it on your stream so that people can see what went wrong. And but yeah, that's. I'm wondering if it's a context window issue, because that's a lot. So I'm wondering if it's running into that potential issue, because towards the end it's also looking a little bit funky with the formatting or whatever. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm sure you'll have a chance to figure out and tell us what went wrong, what went right. Yeah. Yeah, because I'd be interested to know how well it approached it, because it seems like it really went through a lot of thinking and a lot of like formulas and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. Like, is it the fact that I was doing great for a while and then just like 90% of the way in, something seems like it broke towards the end there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me. Well, I'll throw this in there, but let's see. Let me try the original prompt that I did. Dr. Kyle, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much for giving those prompts. I'd be very interesting to see your breakdown of how well it did that. Um, Certainly, if it's like doing high level physics and stuff like that. I mean, Elon was saying putting it on one of his spaceships, and I mean, obviously, if it's great at physics, it's great at science. That's going to be very, very interesting. So I'm typing up my original prompt to see if I can do that PyTorch training pipeline. Let's see. All right, so create a Python snake game, make it so that every second an obstacle pops up. If snake hits it, it ends the game. Make 3 different fruits with different point amounts. Make a script so the game plays itself. Add a score tracker. And it went like that. Thank you so much. This is their first super on a live stream. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That's very cool. I do appreciate that. Yeah, so for the other people that have added some prompts that were more like questions and philosophical questions and stuff like that, I'm probably going to do more of that on a video tomorrow. Right now, I'm just trying to, like, if it is able to do this, then it's on par with O3 Mini High, which it should be. It definitely should be. Clippers Haven, how's Grok looking? So far, it's looking good. So the benchmarks are looking great. We've tested it. Well, the tests are still mixed, so I do want to do a lot more before we kind of give a final sort of answer. The rate limits, so I'm not sure. We haven't run into any. how much, so I've never used does Grok have API access and all of that? I've never used it if it has. I've tried it with Anthropic, I've tried it with OpenAI, I've tried it with Gemini. Grok must have API access to the previous models, right? Yeah, so this is it thinking about the Python game. So it thought for 1 minute 54 seconds. Okay, so it's not in API for a month plus more. It has, okay, YouTube has a redirect function. Edit, customization, redirect. Chipko saying, I've inspired you. The comment on ADHD struck a chord with me. This is our time. I believe it. You know, I think that, and it's not just ADHD. I think there's people that just need more like stimulation and different stuff. I get addicted to that learning curve, and I have for most of my life, whether it was with video games or sports or just anything new, right? You start doing something, and I mean, you're horrible at it first, right? And you get better, and that process of like just it getting easier and easier is very rewarding to me. It's very addicting, and I feel like I go into a little bit of a depression when I don't. Hang on, are you guys saying the chat, the volume is low? Is this better? Hang on. Testing. Okay, I think I'm getting into the yellow. Let me know how it is. If that's a little bit better. Yeah, but the point is, I think with this stuff, it's going so fast that there's always new stuff to learn. Not only that, but I think I'm clipping. Testing. Okay, so I think right here should be good. All right. Yeah, people are voting for switching over to Dr. Kyle's. Yeah, like literally I have a maximum of 10 minutes in me. So stop talking to do yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to test this thing out. All right. This is why I don't do night streams. So let me throw it in here and see how well it's working. How did everyone like so this is the code that we pasted in here. How did everybody like that new video game? What was it? The simulation of medieval times, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I didn't realize that. I guess they had real life, not really like actors, but like I guess they were like actors for the game. Like the main guy apparently has his own YouTube channel and stuff like that. So, okay, so I would say that worked pretty well. Yeah, sorry if I turn that up too much. So that's that. So next step is going to be for us to tell it to create a reinforcement learning pipeline. Let me do that. All right, so I'm telling it, create a PyTorch reinforcement learning training pipeline to teach the snake to play the game itself. Make sure it outputs a report of all the data points you need to then optimize the reward function. So volume knob on table mic. Well, it goes into, the mic goes into a thing. What is it called? The condenser? I don't know. I'm not, I actually could probably improve my audio setup, but yeah, it goes into a Focusrite S2 or S5 thing, and it's got a bunch of various settings on it. But I actually, when I have more time, I gotta figure out how to set it up better, because I feel like there's stuff that I'm missing. The mic is the condenser. I don't know if, well, actually, yeah. So I think these mics, there's something weird about this mic. I'm not an audio guy, so I might be completely out of it, completely not saying the right things. But the sound quality seems to be good. This is what a lot of people are using. Gain staging. Okay, I'll look into that. Okay, audio is perfect, great. All right, so I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run this thing. This is gonna be the last one for me tonight, and afterwards, I'm gonna try to figure out if I can do a redirect to Dr. Kyle's channel, who's going to be live streaming and throwing some difficult physics and questions like that at Grok 3. So that should be interesting. Yeah, I'm drinking coffee. At this point, it's like not helping. Good morning. Yeah, it's, I'm about to go to sleep. But yes, good morning wherever in the world you are. Okay, so it looks like it's done. Is this the standard interface for people that have used it? I've used it where you can chat with it in XAI. Well, this is x.com, or not XAI, but x.com. All right, let me just... Mark T saying, good evening from Sydney. Yes, that's very, very awesome. Thank you. Welcome. All right, so this, and I'll show you guys what it outputs. So here's the PyTorch reinforcement learning thing. So as you can see here, it's kind of showing the total rewards, the amount of steps, how many points it's getting, final snake length. What's interesting is this thing can also, if you wanted to, it's probably using my CPU by default, but you're able to, if you tell it, it can write whatever function it needs to also use the GPU, which I should probably be doing because I got one of the nicer NVIDIA cards. But for the sake of this, we're just going to do this. And so for the people that maybe haven't seen the original video, so what we're trying to do is I'm trying to, somebody's asking about Dr. Kyle's page. So I will post it, and somebody's saying there is functionality to just redirect this stream to his stream. So we're going to be doing that later. So for me, it's this, and then one more prompt to see if it's able to run this, the neural nets that's being trained right now to run it in the Snake game. So take it out of the quote unquote simulation into the actual game. All right, so there we go. All right, well, let's see how well that worked. Oh yeah, Dr. Kyle, I figured you were already live. Yeah, so people, if you type in Kyle Cabasares and there's people in chat posting his name, you can go there right now. And I have about 5 more minutes left in me, and I just want to finish this, and I'm logging off. I'm going to sleep. At which point, if I can, I will try to redirect everything over to to Dr. Kyle's stream. All right, so for the people interested, so here's the sort of the training pipeline that it created. So deep Q network implementation, reward function, etc., etc. So it kind of figures out the action space. It creates the reinforcement learning pipeline. Here's the solution code. So that's what we posted in there. And then it creates like a little file with the weights of, so somebody's asking, is Dr. Kyle a real doctor, or is he, you mean like, is he like Dr. Dre, not a real doctor? I believe, if I understand correctly, yeah. So is it astrophysicist or is it just a physicist? So I know that he said that his PhD dissertation had to do with like simulating black holes, and that's what he used the O1 preview to write the, yeah. Yeah, so he's the degree is in physics. Very, very cool. Let's see. Okay, so let's use that training to get the snake to play the game based on the reinforcement learning weights. Yeah, but Dr. Dre is still Dre. That's a very good point. Still. Thank you, Chelsea, for saying my live segments rule. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm gonna play this tomorrow. I'll be like, what was I doing? I should not be talking on a live stream when I'm not sure what % of my brain is awake right now. Can you imagine that? And then you start talking about all sorts of stuff that you had no idea you were talking about. I'm still Dre too, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate, guys and gals, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I love doing the streams. It's definitely like very special and exciting, and I'm so happy that people find it useful and entertaining. And I was kind of surprised that I'm able to do this. Yeah, Dr. Kyle. So yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for joining. This was great. And actually, this gives me a chance to figure out how to do the redirect to another live stream, which is, I thought it had that I thought it had that functionality, but and I might stay up for like 5 minutes for a little bit and watch the live stream. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yeah, all out of it, unfortunately, on this end. So have to rely on Kirkland coffee. Okay, so I gotta give it a few negative points because it didn't do like the little report. So if the O3 mini high, if you ask it to at the end here, it says, here's a report, and it sort of selects the top 10 sort of little data points that it wants to extract out of how well this thing did. And then if you put it back into it, it's able to kind of iteratively improve it, which is the fact that we're at a point in time when these these AI LLMs can do this is kind of mind-blowing, because I don't think that any model before that would be able to do that easily. I have to try it out on the Claude model though. This is not a report. No. This is just the regular thing that it always does. It didn't do the thing that I asked it to. So, training log CSV. Oh, all right. Let me take a look at the stuff that's happening here. So, in the other one, the other model, what it did was it just wrote the report out, in the terminal in the output window. I might be too out of it to deal with this thing right now. But basically, so for the sorry, I realized I started kind of explaining what I'm doing. So basically, what it does is it creates a little sort of reinforcement learning training to teach the game how to play itself, how to play the game. And it actually creates actual like a neural net, like weights in a file. And so you're able to then go in and use those weights that little AI created to then play the game. Um, So the training log that it created is just basically a sequence of the moves that it made. As far as I can tell, there's no sort of report about what it did right, what it did wrong. or you know what I mean, like any data points that it wants to take out, so I can give it to it and say, hey, try to improve it. So we're gonna, okay. I'm giving up in like 2 minutes. But so far, it seems like it's got a lot of things going for it. It seems like it's pretty good with a lot of the stuff. Did anybody follow the whole, what was it, the cursor agents, was it? That seems pretty cool. I wanted to take a look at it. A lot of people are posting that it's kind of mind-blowing. What's interesting is I think it's literally the same error that the O3 Mini High had. Yeah, replit agent. Is that what it was? Yeah, not what did I say? Cursor replit agent. Is that something that's very sort of interesting? Is that worth looking into? Because like the people that are talking about it are kind of like blown away by it. Is it something awesome? I guess is my question. So what's the rundown? Better than O3 Mini High for coding? It looks, so far as I can tell, it's very similar. It's very close. So I apologize. My brain just stopped functioning. So I'm trying to like troubleshoot this thing, and I know I shouldn't be awake right now. So I had a amazing time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. This is going to redirect to Dr. Kyle's live stream that he's doing right now, and I'll actually hang out there for a little bit. So if you guys want to chat, I'll stay on there for just a little bit. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm going to do a full kind of breakdown in the video tomorrow, but I'm just like I remember running into the same exact issue with O3 Mini High, and I remember there, like, took me 2 minutes to solve it, and right now, like, I'm just, like, not clicking into gear here, so I apologize. Thank you so much. Hang out. You guys don't have to leave. It's going to get, hopefully, if I can figure out how to do it, it's going to get redirected to Dr. Kyle's channel. If not, if it doesn't, I will post the link. So yep, he's live right now. So this should take you directly there, but thanks for all the Wesness. I appreciate that. Thank you. And if I can figure out how to do it, I will actually just redirect you directly there, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. You guys are incredible. I'll stay up a little bit to chat on Dr. Kyle's stuff for 5 minutes or so with whatever sort of cognition I have available, however much awakeness I have available. Thank you so much. Love you guys, guys and gals and everybody. You are incredible, amazing, and I will see you next time. And whoever posted the way to do the redirect in chat, if you want to post it again, that would help. I'm sure I'll figure it out, but if you have it available, that will make it much faster. All right, good night, everybody, or good morning, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you later.